Following last week's closures on crypto, we can see that we've actually had quite a bit of momentum come through the markets, and this is quite a positive sign now. And these weekly candle closures have given us confirmation, almost, almost confirmation. So what I mean by that is the 30k handle, or 40k, sorry, 40k handle here on BTC served as quite the support level that was broken straight back through. Didn't quite retest. However, last week we did actually get closures back above 40k. So that's the first indication to me that we've now had that liquidation of the level here. And now price is trading back within this initial range between the lows of 40,000, and then we've also got this open head and shoulders between 53,000 and $40,000. So now we're back up into this range, we can start to see on the lower time frames, are we getting confirmation that we're going to sustain this level, or is this just a trip, manipulation, if you will, before we then ideally wipe out the 30k region down here. Okay, so it's not all rainbows just yet, and the reason I say that is because if we jump down to the daily time frame, what we can see is we're still actually stuck within this bearish swing. Okay, so we've got our lower high, our lower low, and now price is coming up to revisit these regions to form a potential and expected lower high on the daily. Now, until we breach 44,500, we are still, in fact, bearish on the daily time frame, which, if I just bring a highlighter here, is this region there, just this level mapped to the wicks. What we may see, however, is anywhere in this price region, if we sling a fib from A up into B, we can see that now we have got closures and acceptance just above this 78.6. We've come down, retested, and now today, this morning, we're just starting to push up a little bit. This is the fine details, which gives me the indication that we may come out, probe this high, the lower swing high, and then that's going to be a critical region for myself on where Bitcoin's going next. Because one of two things can happen. The first is that we do get acceptance above this level in alignment with the weekly momentum to the upside, come back down, retest this level, and then we can start to look for those higher moves up into the 50k region, which we'll cover when needed. On the flip side, however, and me personally, I want to see if we do liquidate this high, potentially tap in to this region here, catch people on the wrong side of the market, and then come down for one more drive into the lows of 30k. And then that would fulfill the cycle of 1, 2, and then a third liquidation. Okay? So it's a big move and it looks kind of scary, but it's what's scary, and what people don't think is going to happen is usually what does end up happening. And that's kind of the justification. If we also come back and sling a fib from here, we've got the Fibonacci extension 27 that lines up perfectly with that 30k level, as well as the 61.8 that I've plotted down here at 26,000, which, if we're coming up for this, the deeper the retracement, the bigger the run. And if we come all the way up to make an equal lower swing high on the daily, even maybe break it and then get acceptance back below, then that 61.8 extension doesn't look too far away, in my opinion. So there's really not much else to cover on BTC at the moment. 4 hour is just consolidating and chopping around. There's nothing too crazy, nothing that really catches my attention. I just want to see what price action does form, because at any moment today we could just close back below this 78.6, and then suddenly we're on our way down to the open double bottom, which means that price came down and tested once, but we haven't actually come down and tested twice. Okay, and then we've obviously got our extensions down into the lower regions. I'm going to make a things up today and bring Ethereum into the mix, just given the hype now following all of these closures. The same thing as Bitcoin. We got the weekly support level liquidated at 2,650. We got the 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 last week's closures back up within the range above the 2750. Nice square number. And I've also got the same head and shoulders marked on Ethereum that I do expect price to revisit 4,000 at some point in the future. And now that we've got these closures back within this range, it could happen now, or we may get the same thing as Bitcoin, where we're still trapped below the daily, which is giving us an indication that we may come down one more time to wipe out these lows. And that also aligns with a trend line here. Okay. Daily. Much the same. However, it's not been marked up yet. We've got our high, our low, and we're looking for our lower high here, potentially, on this structure. Okay, if we can sling a fib, A to B, we've almost got the extension down at 1800. So anywhere within this region, basically, would be downside targets initially if we were to get one more drive into the lows, like this. Okay. But in much the same way that Bitcoin, we're not too sure. Ethereum, it's just a matter of what happens around here. Because anywhere in this region, we could form a lower high and then roll over back down. But at the same time, we can claim this area, okay? But nothing is decided until we actually break this lower swing high, okay? So anywhere within here is lower high territory. It's sell. If we break above, don't get acceptance back below, and what I mean by acceptance is break above, break back below, retest that level, and then go lower like this. That's confirmation. But if we just come down, break, retest, then I think we're on our way up into the 4,000 handle. And I think we're on to the 4,000. So, like I said, just monitoring these regions here. Anywhere between 31 and 34. If price starts to give us some bearish signals, then I'm going to look to get short in alignment with Bitcoin at that point. But if there is one lining in the sand, we do have the weekly candle closures sustaining above support, which is where the high time frame momentum is coming from. But the daily is going to be the last thing that may hold it back. So as always, we'll continue tracking, and I'll see you next time.